Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, and Lancaster Fairfield Community Action Recycling and Litter Prevention.
Hello and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm Kathy Bittler, coming to you again as we do each month from Fairfield Medical Center. Today we're in the Tranquility Garden, just a really nice spot here at Fairfield Medical Center where if you're visiting a patient, the two of you could come maybe and take a little break, or if you just need some place to sit and think quietly, the Tranquility Garden here on the second floor is a great spot for that. And I love it when we have an opportunity to be in the Tranquility Garden here at Fairfield Medical Center. I was privileged a couple of weeks ago to attend the State of the Medical Center address, and during that program there was a lot of talk about new offerings here at Fairfield Medical Center, and I am extremely pleased to talk about one of those newer offerings today here at Fairfield Today. We're talking about the new bariatric program. We have a couple of guests with us today. Our first guest is Pam Dye, who is the bariatric program coordinator. Welcome, Pam. Thank you for taking time. And welcome to Fairfield Medical Center.
Thank you.
Brand new on the job.
Yes, brand new. Just shortly over. This is my second week, so.
Well, that is, yeah, that counts as brand new. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself then. Where'd you come from? What's your background?
I'm a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for about 20 years. I've been actually working with bariatric patients for about the past 12 years, and I've been a bariatric program coordinator for the past 6 years for another program. I am also a member of the American Society for Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery. I've also been certified as a bariatric nurse and belong to the Obesity Action Coalition, so very passionate about caring for those who suffer from morbid obesity.
Well, and obviously very well qualified with that list there. Well, what attracted you to Lancaster and Fairfield County and Fairfield Medical Center in particular?
Well, a couple things. One of the things was the fact that the opportunity to be part of a new program. And then once I came and actually met and looked at the hospital, and obviously the motto of the hospital, people you know, care you trust, was very inspiring to me, and so it made me want to be part of this very new program.
We keep calling it a new program. It's been around a little bit longer than 2 weeks.
Yes,
right?
Oh yes. They just took them a little while to get everything together.
Yeah. So I hear that the bariatric program here at Fairfield Medical Center is really going to benefit a lot of people, not only in Fairfield County but surrounding counties as well. As we know, the hospital is a destination for those folks. Why do you think it's important that Fairfield Medical Center offer a bariatric program?
Well, we are currently suffering from a severe epidemic as far as obesity. Actually, 1/3 of the population is considered obese, with 5% of those individuals being morbidly obese. And obesity is actually the second leading cause of preventable death in the United States. So having, with all of those factors in place, having a facility close to individuals and having them have access to that is extremely important. And Fairfield Medical Center is obviously now offering that for those individuals.
It is a huge problem. It really
Yes.
is. When we say that a third of the population, and I firmly believe that's a fair estimate. We just did some biometric testing at work, and guess what? About a third of us fall into that category of obese. How's that defined? How do you really know if someone is obese?
Usually it's basically a measure of height and weight, so your body mass index. Individuals who actually have a body mass index over 30 are actually considered obese. So basically it's just a calculation based on your height and weight.
Okay. Now, is it something that we need to be concerned about if we're right on the border? Should we all be rushing in here?
Well, I think that one of the things we all need to be doing is doing an assessment and seeing what our body mass index is and seeing where we fall in that category. Obviously, there are a lot of factors that play into that, but maybe discussing it with your physician and saying, what are my risks? Is this something that I need to look into? Or even just calling to get more information, and we can kind of help patients understand if it's something that they should be looking into.
Now, is the bariatric program here at Fairfield Medical Center only a surgical option, or are you making other types of I don't know if you call it a treatment or education available?
There is, it is obviously a couple two-folded program. We actually will be having a bariatrician on staff, and Dr. Custer will be talking about that, who basically just works with individuals who suffer from morbid obesity. So there'll be some things as far as weight management and issues as far as that, along with surgical treatments.
So what are the specific types of bariatric surgeries that are offered?
We are offering the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass surgery, sleeve gastrectomy, and the lap band. So they are the three main surgeries that you would see throughout the United States.
And we tend to hear a lot about those anymore. How many surgeries have we performed?
We've performed a total of 11 surgeries so far to date. So
in what period of time?
About 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay, so we're already out there helping people, improving lives. So if our listeners have questions about the bariatric program, or if they're just interested in information about their body mass index, it's easy for me to say, isn't it? Is there a phone number that they can call, or how do they contact the bariatric program?
They can actually call Dr. Custer's office, the Central Ohio General Surgery Department, at 654-6213.
Okay, so we're going to, Pam has mentioned Dr. Custer a couple of times, and we're going to be speaking with him after the break. But Pam, I do want to thank you first for taking time to talk with us today and kind of give us a little introduction to the bariatric program at Fairfield Medical Center, but also for joining the staff here at Fairfield Medical Center and making a difference in the lives of people in Fairfield and surrounding counties. We do appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with Dr. Custer to talk more about the bariatric program here at Fairfield Medical Center. Don't go away.
Welcome to Fogels.
Beautiful, isn't it?
You expect options everywhere else. Why not with your medical treatment? Talk with your doctor to explore all your options and find what's right for you. Visit ahrq.gov.
Quiet, please. Wait a sec. I'll take one. Oh yeah. All right. All good. Take care. Way to go. Nice. Bring it on. Gotcha. I'm here for you. Oh no. Please, please, please. I'm waiting. Interesting. Not buying it. Not fair. That's it. This conversation is over. Oh, brother.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things.
I'm having a stroke. I'm having a stroke.
Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time. Time to call 911 immediately. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment, and that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Learn the body language, the sudden signs, and spot a stroke fast.
Packers. Viking. Packers. Viking. Viking.
Red state, blue state, vegan.
Carnivore.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
Downtown.
Optimist. Cynic.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But when we live united, we create real, lasting change in the building blocks of life. The education, income, and health of our communities, our families,
United.
even the person next to us.
Live united.
Real change won't happen without you. So give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Sign up at liveunited.org.
Separate raw meats from other foods by using different cutting boards. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds. At highway speeds, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop the texts. Stop the wrecks.
Welcome back to Fairfield Today, coming to you from the Tranquility Garden on the second floor of Fairfield Medical Center. Again, if you're at the hospital, just drop by here. This is a great place just to take a look at or sit and visit. I'm sure that some of the staff here take an opportunity to have a little lunch break here, but it's really just a beautiful, very serene, tranquil spot here at Fairfield Medical Center. Today we're talking about the new bariatric program at FMC, and we have with us as our second guest Dr. Timothy Custer, who is a surgeon in the bariatric program. Thank you so much for taking time to talk with us a little bit.
My pleasure.
This program, as we've already talked about in the first section, is a new program here at Fairfield Medical Center. You've done about 11 procedures so far, is that right? So, jumping right into it, getting into what is truly an interdisciplinary team approach, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But first, tell me, Dr. Custer, really who qualifies for bariatric surgery?
Well, bariatric surgery is essentially a treatment for what we call morbid obesity or clinically severe obesity. The criteria are pretty straightforward. They were actually developed back in 1991. And in 1991, we were at a time period in the country where obesity incidence was rising. Bariatric surgery was being done, but not being done in really a standardized manner. The National Institutes of Health came together, brought together about 50 experts in the fields of surgery and gastroenterology, endocrinology, nutrition, psychiatry, and essentially reviewed all of the world literature and data as it pertains to obesity, its consequences, and treatment options then at that time. And they came forth with several conclusions that have essentially been the standard by which we have practiced bariatric surgery since that time. So they determined at that time that once you have reached a certain level of obesity, it is clinically severe or morbid, and the risks are profound. And that determination was at a number described by the BMI. Mm-hmm. BMI is body mass index, and what that is, it's essentially your weight divided by your height, but it's your weight in kilograms divided by your height in meters squared. So
also forget all of this normal standard that we use.
Right? No one knows that.
It's not pounds and inches.
Right. Luckily, there's a lot of good BMI charts out there that are real easy. But essentially, what they found is that a body mass index of 40. Which is essentially, if you're an average 5'5" person, about 250 pounds, which is approximately 100 pounds over ideal body weight. At that level of obesity, you are at about a 4-fold increased risk of early death.
Wow.
The risk of medical problems becomes exponentially increased. The risk of early death becomes significant. And in addition, the ability to lose weight and achieve a healthy weight with traditional diets, exercise, behavior modification becomes essentially impossible. About 99% of people at that stage of obesity will fail medical therapy. So they determined at that time that a BMI of 40 meets criteria for surgical therapy for weight loss. They also made the concession that if your BMI is 35 and you have diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, or life-limiting joint disease.
All of those things that come along with obesity.
Yeah, if you have one of these, what would they call significant comorbidities, then that would meet criteria for weight loss surgery. So essentially, in answer to your question, the long answer to your short question is a BMI of 40 or a BMI of 35 to 40 with one of those significant medical problems would meet criteria for weight loss surgery. That's the criteria we use. That's the criteria all insurance carriers use. That's the criteria used across the world.
Now, Pam told us in the first part of the program today that a BMI of 30 or higher was considered obese.
Correct.
And about a third of the population meets that. Do you have any statistics about how much of the population is in that morbidly obese?
Yes. Yes, it's approximately 5% of the population. 1 in 20 people across the United States, and that's growing as we speak. In fact, we all know that obesity has become a significant problem since about 1985 or so. Really, the rate of obesity, and again, BMI greater than 30, what you talked about, was about 10% in 1985. It is now about 35%. So it has tripled in incidence, over tripled. Now the rate of clinically severe obesity, people with BMI 40, 45, 50, 60, has actually increased at a much higher rate. And there's, for example, those people with a BMI greater than 50 across the United States has quintupled in the last 30 years. And that is the most concerning thing, is not only is obesity on the rise, but the most significant, worst category of obesity is increasing at even a higher rate.
What's causing all this? Have we just become lazy?
That's a very complex question. There's a lot of talk about this, and there's a lot of public misperception about this as well. First of all, I would say that most people that have morbid obesity probably don't follow the most healthy lifestyle. I would also say that everybody in America does not follow the most healthy lifestyle. In my experience, those people that have morbid obesity or clinically severe obesity don't eat any worse than the rest of us, don't exercise any less than the rest of us, are not any less disciplined than the rest of us. And that's one of the most significant and stark misconceptions that I've found in my last 15 years of dealing with this problem. There's a huge amount of bias and a huge amount of misconception about this problem. Yeah, we don't live the best lifestyle. If we all lived in a third world country and worked 10 hours in the field every day and ate fresh fruits and vegetables, lean meats, and drank water, we probably wouldn't have this problem. But we don't do that in America. But that's the way we all live. So
exactly.
There's nothing specific about that population of people that in which their lifestyle creates that. Now, that being said, the question is, so why is it that we have this problem? Well, there are certain genetic propensities that people have that lend toward the lifestyle that we lead, causing that to lead to morbid obesity. In fact, if you quantify that, we know that about 70% of your risk of becoming obese is genetic. There's lots of studies that confirm that. If you look at twin studies, if you take two twins that are born to the same parents, one's raised by one family, one's raised by another, their weight is much more correlated to their birth parents than the parents that raised them. We definitely see a risk of obesity that runs through families. There's just a lot of data that shows that it's a much more complex problem than just us eating poorly and not exercising enough, although that's clearly part of the problem.
It adds to it.
Yes, there's no question about that.
Okay, so these folks then who are candidates for bariatric surgery, does insurance cover this procedure? Is this really considered to be a large enough medical issue that insurance will pay for it?
Yes. The answer is yes, probably. Most major insurance carriers will cover quote unquote weight loss surgery. If you look at all the plans across the United States, however, probably about half, 40% to 50% will have coverage. So what will happen is many insurance carriers will carve out plans that do not cover bariatric surgery, will exclude bariatric surgery. So your specific insurance carrier may cover weight loss surgery, but your plan may not. Mm-hmm. So it's really very specific to the plan you might have. Although most major insurance carriers do have bariatric surgery as an option. One of the things that really helped with that was back in 2006 when Medicare declared that bariatric surgery would be something that they would cover in the appropriate patients. And that really gave a lot of strength to the argument that bariatric surgery is a mainstream treatment for this disease.
So the idea then is to just find out.
Right.
Ask questions of your carrier, or if you're employed, of the administrator of your HR department.
What I tell my patients is you need to first you have to know who to talk to. You have to know the right language, which is admittedly pretty challenging. But what you want to know specifically is bariatric surgery a covered benefit in your plan? And another way to ask that is there a direct exclusion to bariatric surgery? Because the challenge we found is that patients will call their insurance carrier and they'll say, oh yeah, we cover that, but they haven't looked at their specific plan. Mm-hmm. So it really is important to talk to your agent and find out what your specific plan says. And it's pretty straightforward. It's either, another thing about insurance I would add is it's either covered or it's not. It's not like they kind of decide if you meet criteria or if you are at risk enough to justify it. Either you have coverage, and that's part of your plan, and if you do, they follow the NIH criteria, or you don't have coverage. And it doesn't matter how much of a problem this is, they're not going to cover it. It's kind of like if you bought flood insurance to your house or not. You either have the coverage or you don't. And if you have a flood, sorry, you didn't have flood insurance. But it's really much more straightforward, I think, than people people understand. It's not near as subjective as people think. It's either there or it's not. And if you don't have coverage for this in your plan, there's really no way convincing your insurance carrier to cover it. It's just one of those things. And in addition, once you have coverage, there's certain criteria that your insurance carrier will require you to meet in terms of preoperative evaluations, dietary documentation, probably psychological evaluation in order to then be allowed to proceed with surgery.
And that's where this team approach comes in that we're practicing here at Fairfield Medical, correct?
Right. Yes, one of the things we're most excited about is the team that we've been able to develop here. It's really come together great. Now, I've practiced bariatric surgery since residency. I trained in it in residency, and I finished in 2001. It's always been part of my practice. I performed about 1,000 of these procedures throughout my career. The team approach is really critical because although we talk a lot about surgery, or as people say, the surgery, really, surgery is the catalyst and the tool that helps you be successful and meet your goals and get healthy. But that needs to be in the context of a whole team approach. And in the end, surgery is a relatively minor part of it. Probably about what I tell people is about a third of the overall success is the surgery. There's lifestyle modifications that you will have to follow. Essentially, it's a healthy lifestyle, a disciplined lifestyle. There may be psychosocial issues or psychological issues that may need to be addressed, may not. Not everybody has a lot of psychological issues in relation to their weight. Some do. There's a lot involved in it. So what we've done is we put together a really, really good team. Although we've done only 11 cases here so far, everybody on the team is someone that's been experienced in weight loss surgery for years. We've met Pam already. She's been involved in this field for over a decade. We have the only specialized bariatric psychologist in Central Ohio is on our team.
Oh, that's tremendous.
She's exclusively ours. I've known her for 10 years. She's fantastic. We have a medical bariatrician. Most people don't even know what that is. That's a medical doctor, an internist who's had extra training in bariatrics in dealing with obesity and the complications and consequences thereof. He is on our team. The only certified bariatrician in Central Ohio is on our team. He's all ours. We have our exercise specialist at our hospital. Interestingly, this is one part of the program that we're really excited about because many programs don't really integrate exercise because it's challenging. And we've worked with our wellness department, worked with Chris Jung, who is fantastic. He actually specializes in helping train people with orthopedic limitations, and that's a really big deal. When people of size start to get moving and get active, you start getting muscle strains, you start getting joint issues, and his whole specialty is helping people work around that. So he's developing a customized program for every patient that starts before surgery and continues on thereafter. And then we have our nutrition department, we have Danielle, Danielle and Christine specifically, who have worked with bariatric patients for years, who have had surgery at other hospitals, and now have had the privilege to develop our own nutritional program here, and they have done an unbelievable job. So we're really, really excited about it.
Yeah, I guess two things stand out for me from that. The first is how lucky we are to have been able to attract this caliber of individual and therefore form this team here at Fairfield Medical Center.
Yes, I'm just so excited about that. I mean, it really came together like better than I could even imagine. Yeah.
And the second thing that strikes me is that this team approach really is geared to help the patient be successful.
Absolutely, and that's what we did when we here decided we wanted to commit to do bariatric surgery, and we started with one goal, and that was to create what I believe is the best program in Central Ohio, and the entire focus was how do we help people with this problem to the best of our ability, give them the best experience we can, and help them meet their goals. That's our first priority, and everything else follows. And so and that's the way it's worked out, and we're really, really excited about it.
Dr. Custer, is bariatric surgery, well, and that's probably not even the right way to frame it, because all surgeries have some danger associated with it. So how dangerous is bariatric surgery?
Well, I could talk about this for about an hour.
Well,
So,
I'm not sure we have an hour, but I do want to know.
I'll give you my 2 minute.
Okay.
One thing about this, one thing we need to, and I talk about this a lot, and this is a great question. I get asked this a lot. This is one of the most significant misconceptions in my experience. You have to look at several things. One is the risk of the obesity itself, or if you're looking at treating anything surgically, you're looking at the risk, the danger of that entity that you're treating. Secondly, you're looking at the benefit that surgery or treatment will provide. And you also look at the risk of not proceeding with that treatment. First of all, in terms of the risk of obesity, we've already talked about this a little bit, but obesity represents, or clinically severe obesity, it's the second leading cause of preventable death in the United States. I mean, I could talk about this for forever, but it shortens life by anywhere from 8 to 15 years. We are the generation born in the year 2000 is the first generation since the turn of the century to have a lower life expectancy than their parents. There are about 300,000 deaths attributed to obesity a year. It is, in my opinion, the most significant health threat we have in the foreseeable future. So the problem is huge. Secondly, what about surgical treatment? What are the dangers? What we find is that the risk of surgery is about the same as gallbladder surgery, hip surgery, hysterectomies, hernia surgery. Now, I understand many people will hear like, oh no, the data is pretty clear on that. It's about a 0.2 to 0.3% risk of mortality, 2 to 3 in 1,000, which is about the same as any other surgery we do every day. And the way I like to think about it is, we accept a lot more risks for a lot less benefit every day. And now if you look at the benefit of bariatric surgery, you're looking at a 90% reduction in all the significant medical problems. There is about 10 studies that look at long-term mortality. That every one of these studies shows that if you take a group of people and perform bariatric surgery on them and compare them to a like group 5 years later, there's anywhere from a 40 to 90% reduction in mortality in the folks that underwent bariatric surgery. So there are risks to bariatric surgery, there's no question about it. But the benefits are just off the charts.
Yeah, much more benefit than risk there.
Absolutely.
So in closing then, I think the takeaway for people here is that we have now a program at Fairfield Medical Center that can help fight this tremendous problem that we're having in Fairfield and surrounding counties and really across the nation. But you can have this treatment right here at home. And it's safe, and it's something that many insurance policies will cover. You just need to ask the right questions. So how do people get more information now? If they're thinking after watching this, I want to check this out, call your office?
Essentially, yeah. We're essentially calling the way to get started is just call our office. And everything starts with an insurance verification through our office, followed by a consultation with myself, and then set you up with our team and our program.
Where's your office located?
It's at Riverview Medical Center.
Okay, and that's the phone number again for that is 654-6213. Dr. Timothy Custer, thank you so much for taking time to talk with us today, and we're so excited to have you and this program at Fairfield Medical Center, and I know you're going to make a difference in the lives of our residents.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's going to do it for Fairfield today, here from Fairfield Medical Center, where there are people you know and care you trust. I'm Kathy Bittler. Have a great day.
Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, and Lancaster Fairfield Community Action Recycling and Litter Prevention.